Boo. It's Monday morning, and I've gotten a couple of questions about the paranormal. What is it? Do we believe in it? What are Christians? All the others. So here we go. It kind of reminds me often when I talk to people that are wrapped up in this of the amazing old Fox series X-Files. One of the two FBI agents there had a big sign in his office, "I want to believe." Well, that has a lot to do with this. Ghost, and are there ghosts? Well, in Christianity, we would say no. It seems that for it is given unto man once to die, and after that the judgment. We see Lazarus dying and being carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. He's not left behind to wander about for a bit first, and neither is the rich man who is taken to torment. No matter what we see in Scripture, we don't really see them coming back as ghosts. Now, the one exception that is often brought up is the witch of Endor. Who wasn't a witch? Maybe was. All right, here's what it is. Saul, King Saul, had made some really bad mistakes and done some very bad things. And he decided he needed some help. So he went to a woman who had a familiar spirit. Now, what that means is that she advertised herself as being able to speak to a spirit, or that the spirit would speak through her familiar. And sometimes those took the shape of an herb or an animal. Stereotypically, you would have this cat, but it could be anything, or it could be nothing. You're sitting there going quiet, now the spirit's going to speak through me. A lot of people still play that game now. And that when she did, Samuel showed up, and it surprised her, and it surprised Saul. So does that prove then that they're a ghost? Well, no, God can send somebody to do a message anytime he wants to. Also, when he showed up, the woman with the familiar spirit seemed incredibly shocked and frightened, maybe meaning she was a fraud. And when a spirit did show up, she wasn't prepared. But regardless, if that's what you're hanging it on, it's very, very thin stuff indeed. So are there ghosts? Well, I can tell you that some people are just absolutely convinced. Other people are absolutely not, and I'm in the absolutely not. I can find zero real evidence. People will say, but I felt this cold thing go through me. You can do that if you just pay attention any day. Well, then I felt this prickling on my spine. You can feel that any day if you just pay attention. There's a lot about awareness, which is of great value. Well, what about psychic folk? I think it needs to be said that Penn and Teller, the magicians, have had a huge reward out there for anybody who can prove that they're psychic or have any paranormal power at all. They have debunked a huge amount of folk because, and following in the footsteps of one of their heroes, the recently deceased James Randi, who was a magician who spent his life attacking the concept of the paranormal. They debunked Uri Geller, who bends spoons with his mind when he didn't. You always, if you get the camera right, you can see him manipulating the spoon physically. And whenever, every single time he's been challenged to do something without touching it, he has failed every single time. And yet, he still goes out there and fools people. Now, I love magic. I really do. I love magic acts. And I've never really cared about how they did it. I just enjoy the surprise and thinking, all right, that was cool. That was extremely clever. Again, never worrying about, my wife's beside me going, well, how'd they do that? I'm going, I don't care. That was fun. But it wasn't paranormal. It wasn't psychic. J.B. Rhine did, what was that, in the 50s and 60s, massive experiments at the University of North Carolina. And they believed that they had found some telecommunication type thing, psychic connection. But then when the studies were all broken down, they found that no, there were faults in the studies, and that people who guessed what was on the card actually guessed a little bit worse than normal. In other words, worse than blind chance. So there are all kinds of ghost and haunted things on telly, aren't there? Right? You know, where they go in and they got these little meters and all of a sudden, it, you know, woo, it goes. What is that measuring? And can you prove that in a lab anywhere? That this is a... Actually, no. All of these have been debunked. They are entertainment. And if you like being scared by things that go woo in the night, I don't see anything wrong with that. That, you know, and if I'm walking through the ruins of a house, you know, you hear a creak or something falling down, you went, oh, you know, that's human. That's normal because, you know, it could be an animal, it could be a person. But then when we don't see anything, we'll think, well, it's a ghost. Well, you know, wood contracts, stone cracks, water moves, noises happen. I live in a house that was built in 2013. We bought it new the second month of 2014. It already has creaks in some of the floor. And some of those creaks will be actually, you'll hear them remotely. You touch a board and then this is the board that's moving, but it's sending the sound out toward the wall. You can think, oh, there's a ghost in the wall. No, it's called a referred acoustical event. And some of you are going, oh, you're taking the fun out of all this. Well, I was asked, is there evidence for any of this? For haunted places or haunted things? You know, like these dolls that are in the movies. You got to get rid of this evil doll. Are there spirits out there like Jason that no matter how many times you kill them, they're back? No. Stories like this, however, feed a need in human beings. And that is the need to be scared and to imagine and to cluster with others and go, oh, what could that possibly be? And so some people need the ghost stories. Now, I'm not a fan at all of horror movies where people are gutted, horrific violence is done to people, you know, Saw, all that type of thing. I'm not at all a fan. I have a hard time understanding how we can be a fan of those, but I'm not judging you. I'm just saying it just does not compute with me at all. I'm not entertained by watching somebody else's pain. And in fact, I couldn't, even if I tried, because I'll 5-10 minutes in, I'm going, well, that was a stupid decision. Well, that was a stupid decision. All right, too many stupid decisions. Some people don't get to live. When I was growing up and going through my intense movie-going days, and as teenagers, that's what you did on a date, and early 20s, all the movies then were basically, all right, these two sneak off and have sex, and therefore they're killed by the bad guy. Did you ever notice that? A lot of that happening. And I dismissed the morality tale even then, because you could see it coming, you understood what it was. I'm not entertained, and I'm not invested in these people's lives, because they made these kind of decisions. And so we can't be friends. How about haunted energies? Can you ever get a feeling coming into places? Of course you do. If I'm walking through an old house, like I said, abandoned house, you might hear it. But what if you're walking through something that used to be a psychiatric hospital for the criminally insane? Oh, please, you're going to feel a little bit of, woo, what was that in there? James Randi even called it woo. It's not real, just kind of fun. So do I believe in ghosts? No. Do I believe in psychics? No. But what about you right now who are thinking, Mama, I was in a car accident and we didn't have a phone and my mama was 18 states away, wrapped in a lead blanket, so no signals could get in, and yet she went, something has just happened to my daughter. You tell me, buddy, that wasn't psychic. Well, it wasn't psychic. We call it synchronicity. When you do something enough, you're going to have a moment of convergence. Let me explain. For some of you under, let's say, 30 or 40 years old, you have no idea what a life was without constant contact. When there weren't phones around. And when you did find one, you had to have the change for it. And the other person had to be within reach or sound of a bell on their phone, which was locked down by a cord to the wall. So again, every time somebody's driving, they're not even late. It's just good. You know what? Take them 2 hours to get from that place to home. An hour in, we wonder, are they okay? Hope they're okay. It's raining. Seems to be raining heavily. What? I hope that. Then if we get a call from the state police saying they've had an accident, we go, I knew it. I knew it. I was thinking about that. I was just thinking about that. And then if they're 10 minutes late, 20 minutes late, what could go wrong? What's happened? I think something must be horrible. And then 99 times out of 100 or more, they pull into the driveway and your feelings, your certainty that something has gone wrong, immediately dismissed. And then the one time it happens, they go, I knew it. I just had this feeling. It hit me. I've got this gift. No, because if you did, we could test it. And you would have had the gift about all the other bad stuff that's happened to your family members, neighbors, friends, and the like. And you didn't. You had feelings. They were dismissed when they weren't warranted. And you forgot about them. Just like you forget about your dreams. If you're like almost 99% of the populace, within 5 minutes of getting up, you can't really recall your dreams unless they're particularly stunning and horrible or whatever. It's because they're not warranted. It doesn't matter now. We have new information called daylight, and we're moving forward. So what about proven ones like the Amityville Horror? You ever looked into that? Every single thing they tell you was a fact was not. Every single thing. It was a complete fraud, a complete hoax that a lot of people still believe. The Bermuda Triangle. No. You put a triangle that size on any piece of ocean that has currents like that, and you will have that many missing things. It's busted. Every time you look at these and you do it deeply, they're busted. That's why there are rewards out there for the hundreds of thousands of dollars to prove the magicians, Penn and Teller, and others wrong. Because they can't. You can go around and act scared and be scared and get under a blanket and put a flashlight up against your face and tell ghost stories. Nothing wrong with that. As long as the story's not horrid and evil, it's all right. But we need to deal with reality. And we can deal with reality while still having the occasional flutter of fun. All right, let me look. Oh, by the way, have you ever wondered why the ghost hunters have to go in at night with narrowly focused flashlights? So they're always going, what was that? Kind of like the Bigfoot hunters do. Oh, good. Now I've gotten the Bigfoot people angry at me. We'll talk about cryptids at another time. Go have your week. Live in reality, because it's actually pretty amazing. Really. Have a look around. Cool, isn't it? Cheers. See you next time.